Yeah, so we're live, guys. I'm just gonna
Good.
take, as usual, my few minutes just to put it on all platforms.
Yeah,
And
sure. Hi, guys.
Good
Thanks for
lord,
being here.
Alain wasted no time.
He's there
Holy
already. There you
moly.
go. Yeah.
Alain,
You got
Alain,
some
thanks,
good
my,
public, man.
I call him like
Yeah.
my
thanks for
feelings
being here.
friend.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah. So
but
whenever
Alain
Eddie's ready,
mentioned,
guys, we'll roll right away. It's a big show today again, man. Again.
Yeah, it's always gonna be big shows, right? So,
especially as long as they're in CCL, there's two competitions to talk about, particularly. But
yeah.
God Almighty,
Yeah, yesterday was it's Hadi who had
dismal.
social media work this week. It was a bit painful, I'm sure. To
Yeah, but you know what? It's fun when it's painful.
Okay,
Hi
Hattie the
Jean-François.
masochist.
By the way, hi Jean-François. Hi Alain.
Yes, go X-Fire.
Okay, I think
Oh.
we're ready, guys. So
Good.
we can start. Thanks for being here, everybody. We're gonna start in the next few seconds. So as usual, we will start with our
Wait,
countdown.
wait.
Uh, wait.
Just,
Okay.
just yeah. Just I have a little
You're
problem here.
tweeting? Okay, good.
No,
Just
no,
tweet
man. I
it
have a
if you
little
want to.
problem with. Okay, good. I'm ready. Sorry, man.
You're ready?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
ready. Go.
But perfect. So
Move
we're gonna
forward.
start with the countdown, and feel free, guys, to retweet, to share our content, so we could have a lot of people join in. So let's do this. Let's start with the countdown.
Hello, my friends. My name is Samuel Savy, and this week on the show, the Orange Ball brings no joy to CF Montreal as we drop our third straight to start the 2022 season. We talk short passes, long balls, and everything in between as Wilfred Nancy's tactics come into question on social media. Joe Serrois and Sean Ray loaned out to Valor for a second season running. And we start the show with a preview of our return leg against Cruz Azul at the Big O. All of this and a lot more in episode 72 of The Ball is Round. And I'm happy to be joined by my friends Yves Paul and Hedzi Rafael. And I'm also very happy to welcome on the show Jose Luis Arimana from El Podcast Azul, who will be here to help us preview the return leg of our Champions League match. So I'll start with you, Jose Luis. How are you, my friend?
Hi, I'm great actually. I'm very happy to be here with you guys. Uh, this is the first time that I've collaborated with a different podcast, and we're thrilled. So let's
Yeah.
do this.
Man, it's
Uh,
always an honor to have you guys from other podcasts come here. It's so interesting to have your input.
mhm.
So we're really happy. Eve Hadi, everyone's good?
I love Jose's guitars.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are so cool. That's why I've just been so distracted. Sorry. You have a really good setup. Awesome.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to say thank you for being here, Jose Luis. It's really nice to have someone talk about that to preview that really very important game for CF Montreal already very early in the season. And I just want to take the time to tell you happy birthday. I know it was your birthday yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
so happy
Thank
birthday,
you,
man.
thank you. I had a like the first party since COVID here at
Oh
home,
wow.
so it was the
Ah.
first time in a couple of years seeing like family and friends together. So
Oh, wow.
if I seem a little bit
Oh, that's exciting.
hungover, it's because I am. High spirits for everything.
Listen, you
Fantastic.
already have fans. You already have fans. Alain Pouliot says you're collaborating with the best. It's as simple as that. I think you are the best. It's not us. You are the best.
Yes.
So
Alan's
so
telling us
yes.
that we're the lucky ones for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
No, you're too kind.
So guys, I guess we jump right into the interview because there's a lot to unpack here. So Jose, let's go right into it if you're ready, man. My first question is,
All right.
do you believe Cruz Azul will be made to regret not placing more shots on target in the first match and having a more significant advantage going into Montreal?
That's going to be up to Montreal, actually. But yes, I think that the intention of the coach and of the team was to begin very aggressively. As you remember, the first half was very intense. Cruz Azul pressed very high up the pitch, and
Hmm.
the intention was to not let you guys play out. Like we saw how Mihailovic destroyed Santos, so we didn't want that to happen. Also, I saw it was very interesting how your coach uses like the three on the back and the four in the middle.
Yeah.
Like Reynoso actually uses that same formation for closing matches. Like whenever he's happy with the result or determines that we can't score more, he does that. Three in the back, four in the front of them, and then it depends on of the offensive players he has available to see if he has like uh, two uh, two attacking midfielders and one spearhead, or
Yeah.
if he uses number 10 and uh, two center forwards, right? So we saw a little bit of mirror tactics there, and I suppose that that's how the players knew how to attack, like those half spaces between the third center back and the winger,
Yes.
and the wing back. We came in through that, and also you guys tried to attack those same spaces whenever you had a counter attack. So it was a very interesting. It was a very good match, and I have to say I expected at least two goals, but you hung to that 1-0, and it's going to make things much more complicated. I suppose we're going to know how the match will progress in the first 15 minutes, depending on who scores
Hmm.
first.
Yeah, and go ahead, Sam.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eve. Go ahead,
I
man.
was just gonna say, Alain has chimed in, and I think Jose, maybe you touched on it. You said, Montreal hung on for the 1-0, and I kind of agree with our commentator Alain, who says after watching the first game, feels very fortunate for Montreal that it finished only 1-0 because at the end of the day, Cruz Azul had, I believe, 19 shots, only
Oh
two of
yeah.
Nine,
which were on target,
yeah,
which is
19
wild.
shots still on target
Yeah.
versus one shot on target. No,
Yes,
it's one target. Yeah.
and it was in around the 70th minute or something.
Yes, but because of the tactics,
Yeah.
yeah,
But now you're going into, so I'll just segue a bit from what we prepared as an interview because I really love talking tactics and you look like a guy that likes that. So I just want to
I
ask you,
love it.
um, compared to what your coach usually does, do you have the feeling that he had adapted his system to prepare against the way our head coach sees the game, or was it a normal tactical display from your
That
team on that night?
that is a very interesting question and very present for the Cruz Azul fandom because there's been a debate lately with the coach. Like last year, we had a very vast team. We had like 23 players that any of them could be a starter, but we lost 11 players due to contract situations, due to players wanting to go to Europe and their agents like putting stuff in their heads, right? So we lost 11 to 13 players in the last 7 months,
Wow.
and we made five signings to cover for those positions. But those five signings are young and very interesting, very good players. So what has been a priority now is to manage the
Hmm,
minutes that every player is playing.
interesting.
So since February 12th, we've been playing one game every 3 or 4 days.
Hmm.
Oh wow.
And yeah, we're doing English week. And that's going to stop on the 19th, right? So the two games against Montreal are right in the middle of this. And for one, well, it's home. But for the next one on Wednesday, we're gonna go to Montreal, and that's not a short trip. So the players have been uh, selected depending on how many minutes each of them has. And a lot of people want to see the best 11 always on the pitch. And the coach right now is just managing. And even with local teams in the local league, a lot of people say, "Hey, we could have won this game. What happened? Why did you take our two best players off at the 60-minute mark?" And the coaches, and in the press conference, like, "We're managing. We're uh, we're managing the minutes every player gets. We have a game every 3 or 4 days for the next 2 weeks. This is the best we can do." And people don't like that, but it's bringing results. So what you saw on the pitch last Wednesday, Thursday, no, Wednesday. It was Wednesday, definitely.
Wednesday.
I think it is adapted not only to what Montreal could do on the pitch, but also what we need from the last 4 games that were still remaining. But yeah,
Interesting.
the coach is kind of obsessive. Juan Reynoso, this guy watches videos, he watches rivals, he adapts, and as you saw, he changes a lot during the game. He believes in two states of the game per half. So in the first half, there's a time to attack, there's a time to defend. It could be first defend, then attack, or it could be first attack, then defend. And in the second half, it all starts again. And this 5 substitution football has been very, very kind for him because he now has the space to play 2 games in 1 game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
cool.
That's really interesting. But you were touching about the coach, so I have to ask. You guys had several players unavailable for the first leg. Do you have any idea if some of these players will be available for the return leg in Montreal?
Yes, we had Dominguez, Mayorga, Otero, and who else? And Tabo out. Yeah, important players, most of them. Oteros are only like South American number 10, classical number 10, like player, it's a player out of the 80s, basically.
Yeah.
And he was, he was starting to shine, but he has 1 inch tear in his one of his legs muscles. So
Ouch.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's gonna be available. But Mayorga, who is a left wing back, is gonna be available. Dominguez is not. We're not getting a lot of players back. We're one back, Mayorga, and that's it. Yeah, that's conditioning the team because, as I said, the team is short. Like we don't have enough players to fight for 2 tournaments at full power.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club, man.
Yeah,
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
We know all about that, man.
Struggle is real.
But Jose, have you watched any of Montreal's recent matches? Perhaps the return leg versus Santos Laguna. And I want to know if you have you noticed anything about the surface, the pitch we have at Stade Olympique that could prove difficult for Cruz Azul? And just to put you in context, it's a really, really hard surface, and the ball bounces all over the place. And you see, even our players struggle with that.
Oh, it's
because
bad.
it's unusual,
I hadn't, but then we had Yves at our podcast, and he told us that he was like, "Hey, the pitch it's just a carpet." So
Yeah.
that's why the ball
On
bounces.
cement.
On cement,
It's a carpet on cement, so it's more like oh man, saloon football. What is it called in English?
Baby foot.
Futsal.
Yeah.
Futsal.
Futsal. Yeah, it's
futsal.
more like futsal. So okay, yeah, it's gonna be hard. Definitely gonna be hard. Then I watch the second leg against Santos. There in Montreal, and I saw that, and I saw how this Mihailovic, he takes advantage of that. He loves running into space. Like, okay, ball's just gonna reach the half space between midfielder, defensive midfielder, and the center back.
Yeah.
When the ball does that bounce, he loves to attack that.
Yeah.
Boom, here he comes.
Yeah.
Full train, full speed, and he knows where the ball's gonna land. He out of the 3 goals, 2 were because of that play.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, yeah.
got my attention.
He was the second in assists last year in MLS altogether. So
Wow.
so he's a very good player. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just to say, Chan says agrees with all of us, saying that the surface is of the Stade Olympique is maybe the worst surface in the world. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. We're pretty close, but man, Chan, you didn't see surfaces in Lebanon. Believe
I was gonna
you don't
say
want
the
to see
surface
that.
the under 20 women's team played
Oh,
their
yeah,
match
that-
versus
that's-
Panama. Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
we'll get
talk
back to
about
that,
that. We'll
Yeah,
get back to that,
exactly.
for sure.
I was like, I
Um,
got a worse one this week, son.
I would just
yeah,
a second,
probably.
guys. We've got a question that came in, and for our listeners, if you have a question for Jose Luis, please feel free. We love your input, guys. There's Moody's Rating who asks us on Twitter, can you ask Motogrifo, Jose Luis, to tell us about Chucky?
About Chucky Lozano.
Yeah.
I guess so, man.
Has he signed for Cruz Azul?
Oh wow, that's gonna be hard because I'll be honest. I haven't watched. Chucky last. I think the last season altogether.
Okay.
He just came back from injury, and he had his first starting 11 yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. He did well. I think all of his stats were 100% except for passes. Completed passes was around 91%. He just missed one out of 16 forward passes, if I'm not mistaken. Cruz Azul player named Chucky. We don't have a Chucky.
Yeah, I was wondering, man. That I
Yeah.
guess he's talking about Lozano too.
Charlie.
Yeah, he is. He is
Charlie
talking for
Rodriguez
sure.
might be. Charlie Rodriguez is this guy we signed from Monterrey this season, and he's been amazing. He's an all-around midfielder. Like his first role was as a deep playmaker, right?
Okay.
He has the defensive skill to be next to a center midfielder, center defensive midfielder, but he goes forward. He likes to arrive instead of being. Instead of
So
being in
box-
a place where
box
he
to
can
box.
receive the ball, he gets there. Like he's a very aggressive player in that sense. So Reynoso has been using him as a second striker.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes.
That's
Interesting, man. That's
intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we have a 4-2-3-1 formation, he would be immediately behind the center forward. He
Oh, wow.
goes a lot with the two midfielders, like they make a midfield of three a lot of
Okay.
the time.
So he drops a bit. Sometimes.
Exactly, he drops a bit, but he drops like he drops and then he goes.
And then he goes straight.
Yeah,
so
he goes
so
straight
does it
forward.
mean you play on the counter most of the time? Because it's interesting when you play on the counter when you have such a player playing at such a position, no?
Mhm.
Yes, Reynoso is not a coach that favors playing from the back, and
Okay.
he's not a possession coach.
Okay.
He's more Mourinho than Guardiola. He's actually more Simeone than
Yeah.
Guardiola.
So counter attack king.
Yeah,
then.
he's counter-attacking football. He loves his defense. Like last year when we won the championship, we had what was this? We had 12 games, 12 victories, right? All straight.
Yeah.
And out of those 12, 8 of them were by 1-0.
That's all you need.
Yeah, he scored, and then everyone to the back, 11 players, hanging from the post, and that's his style. A lot of people don't like it. I actually didn't like it at first, but I am a convert, so
Oh.
Reynoso all the way now.
Nice.
Perfect. So let's move on with the interview, Jose Luis. So listen, the Azteca is known to wear the opponent down by the end of the game because of the altitude, and and the fact that it's a massive monument in Central America. Now, strangely, we saw Montreal gain the upper hand in the last 20 minutes of the game. They were the better team. How can you explain that? Because it's usually supposed to be the other way around.
Just as we said, like Reynoso is a coach. When he realized that we were ahead, and then no one none of the forwards were in their day, I suppose he said, okay, we're going to end up conceding, and conceding here is giving them a visitor goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the disadvantage for the second leg. So he closed the match. I
Yeah.
suppose it was, yeah, it was very, very early. He does that. He does that. That's like the first thing that whenever we don't get results, whenever we start tying games or losing or even winning for 1-0, and the people don't like it, that's the first thing they say. They'll be like, "No, we should have won by more. No, we can do better with this team. No, this is a lot of wasted potential on this coach." Blah blah blah. Man, he likes to win. That's it. He has his way of winning. But that's it. He closed the match.
Love it.
I'll be honest. I was impressed that he did that because uh, maybe it was easier to keep some players in the pitch and just like drill and drill and drill, and one of the balls is gonna go in eventually. But I suppose he was also measuring like physical. The I lost the word in English, but
Like the stamina?
exactly like the stamina and the matches that are to come. Because after playing Montreal, we played Pumas yesterday,
Mhm.
and it was also a very intense day and very physical. Pumas is also playing CONCACAF,
Yeah.
but they used their first team yesterday
Oh well.
because they are 3-0
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
So I
Against
think
New
they're
England.
throwing CONCACAF away, and they tried to win that game yesterday. And these guys have sacked coaches from us. Like the recent history, they haven't won a championship, facing Cruz Azul, but they have thrown us out a couple times, like by
Okay.
scores of 4-0, stuff like that. Like
Oh,
Pumas
wow.
would be mid-table, doing very mediocrely, and then they face Cruz Azul and bam, 4-0. So we have
Oh, it's like Cincinnati in Montreal.
yeah.
Ah.
Okay, now if you now I'm looking at the at the presser. I usually attend to the pressers of Wilfried Nancy, and Wilfried Nancy said something that's very interesting. A lot of people really a bit laughed when he said that. He said that the Montreal defenders were paying for Cruz Azul offensive players, and that's the reason why shots weren't on target. Do you agree with that statement, or do you think it's just because the Cruz Azul offensive players were just not efficient in front of goal during that game?
I'll have to agree with him partially because there is no way. I'll tell you this: you get the same balls, the same place, right? Without a defender in front of the striker, and it's gonna be a goal every time. Let's be honest. The fact that the
Mhm.
guys were there and that uh, every time one of the strikers shot, it was like out of position or on an uncomfortable angle, and your keeper was actually very good. If I'm not mistaken, he stopped 4 or 3
yeah.
shots.
Yeah.
3 or
Oh
4.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So those are factors. And whenever you play a game and you have a keeper like in a good mindset, 3 at the back, 4 in the front of those, you're putting a wall. So the intention of a wall is to make things bounce against it. I remember a couple shots from Romero. Romero is a new signing. He was a free agent for a while. If I'm not mistaken, his last match was in October, and then he played 3 matches, and then he played against Montreal. So this guy has been like chilling, and then he's trying to play 90 minutes, and he had to on target, but very uncomfortable. And this guy's a virtuoso. He does things with the ball that nobody else in Cruz Azul or in a lot of teams in Liga MX does. So the fact that he was uncomfortable, I think, is merit of your coach and your defense. Also,
Mm.
Santiago Jimenez. Santiago Jimenez is very young, very impulsive, very aggressive striker, and there was not. It was not a comfortable game for him. Definitely.
Interesting. Now, you talked about the Liga MX. As we know, there's always been a rivalry between Liga MX and MLS. And while Liga MX has most of the time been victorious, of course, What do you think about this year's edition with Lyon and Pumas losing by 3 goals in the first leg? Do you think the tide is slowly turning in favor of the MLS, or do you think we're not there yet?
I think that the fact that we're having this debate every year for the last 5 or 6 years, it's a good sign for MLS. At the same time, I think that Liga MX still has the upper hand. Maybe the gap is closing, but I see a lot of teams in Liga MX that how can I put this? There's a concept that is very talked about in South American football, Latin American football together, like hierarchy. So you have this team, and you need veterans on the team, right? Because they know how to play out the matches and make time scarce for the other team. They know how to close, right? Or they know when to go for goal and when to go for like the corner kick, when to play something else that is not completely football with the ball against the other team. And I think Liga MX teams already have a lot of players like that, a lot of experience like that MLS teams don't have yet. But you are importing that because you're getting players with very rich careers in Europe or in South America. The cases of Barcos, Almiron, Jovinko. So everyone that comes to your league with that experience and teaches that to the other players in the league will get you step closer.
That's
No,
good.
It's-
okay.
Really.
It's funny that you say that, but that means what you're trying to say, because let's be honest, Pumas and Leon certainly not going to go through. So you're telling us that Cruz Azul is going to go through and is going to win the Champions League, right? That's what you're saying?
Hey, I'll tell you one thing: we're not Pumas and we're not Leon.
Oh, the big
Well, you're definitely not Santos Laguna, I can tell you that.
Oh yeah.
No, and actually, it was very it was kind of ironic and very fun in a way, because Santos Laguna's coach, Caixinha, he was Cruz Azul
Right.
coach.
Oh.
He was Cruz Azul's coach a couple of years ago, 2019.
Drama.
Yeah, he took us to a final, and we lost that final over 2 legs without actually using. I don't know. The second leg, we didn't even shot once on target.
Oh, wow.
It was very, very shameful, and he didn't go out of the team right. Like then he had a PowerPoint presentation the next day or like the next week after that, and like he was like, "This is why we lost. It was not me. It was these situations." And then he got fired.
Oh,
And he was
that's
like a
like
sore loser, and he was always like, "Oh no, I could have done great things with Cruz Azul, but the administration doesn't have any vision." Blah blah blah. Then he comes back with Santos, and in 7 matches he's out.
yeah, I gotta say it was they seemed like they were in a dark place that second leg in Montreal. It seemed like the writing was on the wall.
The last coach that Santos had was
They loved him.
They love him, Almada. He plays very beautiful football, possession based. He brings in a lot of the young guys from the academy. It is very, very aggressive. Actually, Cruz Azul won the final last year against Almada's Santos, and it was very hard. We suffered. We suffered through the whole 2 legs. But you come from a guy who plays that style of football, and then they sack him without any reason. They then bring in a guy who's very conservative, and he plays like this 4-3-3, and the 3 midfielders are mostly defensive, and it didn't resonate well with the people, like with the fans. And second, third game, they were all already like asking for his head, and the players, you saw that, like the players don't want to play.
No,
he lost.
It was.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, now you've had some time kind of to see Montreal. Obviously, you watched Montreal for 90 minutes versus Cruz Azul. You also caught some of the Santos Laguna matches. Are there any player or players who have stood out to you for Montreal?
Mihailovic a lot. Like this guy impressed me.
Yeah.
And there's another player. It's either the right back, no, the left back or the left wing back. Let me.
The left wing
Left
back?
wing back?
Surely not, man.
No,
Surely not.
who's the left wing back? Let me see the thing.
Last-
Zoran
last-
Basong?
No.
Zoran Basong, Lassie
I was like, no.
This guy.
Come on,
He was
Miller.
playing on the left. He was the one responsible for Antuna not scoring 2 or 3 more goals. If I'm not mistaken, he's the left center back.
Oh,
Oh,
Miller.
okay. Kamal Miller.
yeah.
Kamal Miller.
No, come on, Miller.
No, he
come in
didn't
until
start
later
that
in the
game.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
you're
it
right,
it
you're
was
right.
Waterman, no?
It was Joel
Because
Waterman.
Joel
who started.
Waterman.
Joel Waterman.
Lineup, and it's going to be
Joel Waterman.
Waterman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A
Good.
tall guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
tall guy.
You know-
I'll tell you this: Antuna has a field trip against Liga MX defenders,
Mhm.
and he couldn't do that with this guy. He escaped
Oh, wow.
a couple times, and one of them was a goal. But
Mhm.
he made the game difficult for Antuna.
But this,
Oh, nice.
you know, Waterman is really on a good progression route, you know, and he came here. There was a lot of people questioning if he was good enough, and I think he's
Mhm.
proved that he is now. So it's fun to see that people outside of Montreal are giving him credit. So I
Yeah.
guess we're seeing the good side of Waterman these days.
Yeah.
So it's fun,
Yeah.
man. It's cool.
You
Yeah.
always need an outside perspective, right? Because we have so many biases of
Yeah.
knowledge or what people are saying
Mhm.
all the time. So when you get an outsider like noticing stuff and then it agrees with what you're seeing, you're like, okay, I'm in the right track, right?
There you
Yeah.
go, man.
No, 100%. No, and reference like Joel Waterman is actually the first player to go from CPL to MLS, and CPL, of course, being the league Forge played in, who Cruz Azul just beat prior to Montreal and CCL.
It's a
So
good,
it was,
jump ahead, right?
yeah,
Very big jump.
exactly. It was exciting for sure. So yeah, regarding the fact that Rafael Baca probably won't be available for Cruz Azul, how important is he for the team, and how is Guzman going to deal with his absence? Or Reynoso, sorry. I know you call him Reynoso.
Don't worry. That's kind of controversial. Rafael Baca is a player that's been for a long time in Cruz Azul.
Yeah.
He's a player who has played the most minutes right now in this
Yeah.
stretch of the since February 12th until March 19. And the fact that he's gonna miss this game, I suppose is gonna be important. Reynoso values him a lot, but he's one of the most criticized players on the team. Baca started his career in Cruz Azul as an interior. I don't know how would you call this position. Like when you have a midfield of 3, there is an anchor, right? And
Yeah.
there's 2 in the front of this guy. What are those called?
Box to box.
Box to box. Okay.
midfielder.
Yeah, number 8s. Yeah, we call them
Number eight.
Number 8, box to box.
Box to box. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so Baca, it's right box to box, right? And his most valuable ability is to press the rival when they play out of the back, right?
The Montreal way.
Very good timing. He jumps like boom. He causes the mistake for the ball to be lost by the other team, and then the safety net catches the ball, and then we go forward. And that was with a young Rafael Baca and with a high pressing team under Paco Gemes. He was coach of Rayo Vallecano, and he was famous because he always received like 7 or 8 goals per match against Barcelona, right? But he played the same style in Mexico with Cruz Azul. So time passes, and every coach after Gemes uses Baca. And nobody knows why, because he only has that characteristic, and most of the people after Gemes don't play Baca as that. They play him a little bit more behind as a double shield with another player. And Reynoso even had the nerve to use him as anchor, as a number 5, as a center midfielder, and then put 2 other players in front of him as box to box. Now, what does Baca do? He jumps. He he doesn't stay in the front of the two center backs, right? He doesn't guard that position. His back is an avenue, or was like it's been better lately, but he was questioned about this a lot, and a lot of the fandom don't like Vaca. They have campaigns. There are Twitter accounts dedicated to posting Vaca's mistakes every game.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh
like
boy.
campaign. It's awful.
wow.
But
Okay.
he's the guy playing the most minutes, so that has to
Yeah.
be something. The coach has to see something that the fans don't see. So he's important. I'll tell you that. But I'll tell you this too. We have players to play the same roles without without making it look that it is not a starter play. You know, like there are substitutes. They're good substitutes. We have Charlie Rodriguez. We have Eric Lira. We have Nacho Rivero can also play in that position, and I'm confident that it's going to be fine without him.
Okay.
But I know that
Good.
the coach and his team they value him a
Mhm.
lot, even though the fandom
Fine.
doesn't.
No, fair enough. And yeah, sometimes the coach sees what the fans don't at the end of the day. But yeah. Obviously it is a little bit off topic, but we kind of can't ignore what's going on lately in Mexican soccer, particularly the incident in the Querétaro Atlas match. How has this matter been playing out in the Mexican soccer community?
Very bizarrely, like Mexico is very very surreal. Um, okay, so we have you saw the images, right? Like
Yeah.
people on one side of the stadium start I don't know screaming over to the other criminals, and then they fight, and then we have people undressed, beaten half to death, and bloody all over, and nobody knows how we got from a soccer match with families to those images in 20 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Um, I think, and I was talking to a friend who is an investigative reporter actually yesterday,
Oh.
and he covers cartels and stuff like that. And he tells me that most likely it wasn't anything organized crime related, because a lot of the people were saying after the match, hey, this leader from these hooligans, he has like a bootleg gasoline. Like, oh man, okay, so this is very Mexican. There's something
Oh
called
boy.
what you call. Okay, what you call is when these guys they go to the oleoducts, right? Like the pipes that are
Yeah.
running gasoline through the country,
Yeah.
and then they make holes and they milk it.
Oh my
Oh
god.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah, they steal gas and then they sell it. So it's bootleg gas, and it's a whole mafia. And well, they have like territories and gangs and blah. So one of the guys from Querétaro, one of the hooligans from Querétaro, is a leader of one of these mafias. And then apparently one of the leaders of the Atlas hooligans was involved with Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, these
Oh my god.
drug dealers, militias. So the rumor was these guys wanted to, the guy from Querétaro wanted to catch this guy because he was going into his territory or some stuff like that. So they used the match as an excuse. But my friend tells me, I don't think it was that. I think it's just that if you have those kind of criminals in both hooligans groups, like anything that's going to be a provocation with those people in the stadium, it's going to end up like this, because
Mm.
they're not going to go, I don't know, fair fighting, right? Like clean fist on each
Yeah.
other. Okay, you're on the floor. Okay, it's over. I
Yeah.
won. I don't know. I'll take your team's shirt and claim it as my trophy or whatever. And I don't know. I know that's not civilized, but that's not killing someone.
No, there's a
Right?
difference.
No, there's a difference. Yeah.
Exactly. But they go all the way because on their day jobs, that's how they do stuff. So they have these very, very violent people who work for organized crime in the hooligans groups. And
Mm.
that gives it a whole different dimension. So any conflict in a stadium between groups can escalate to that now. And that is something that we didn't realize before this weekend,
Okay.
this last
Yeah.
weekend. Like we always thought, okay, it's gangs. There's subnormal people everywhere. Like
Mm-hmm.
okay, we need to increase security in the stadiums. We need to do something like, but we didn't know how bad it was until that match.
Yeah.
That opened a lot of eyes. Put in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I wouldn't take my daughter to a stadium now, to be honest.
Well,
Oh,
well,
wow.
that brings us to Alain's question. I think you could put it on the
Yeah,
screen, Eve,
I'll put it.
and
I'll
read it
put it
out.
back up here. Just give me
Yeah,
2
yeah.
seconds. Because yeah, Alain, he lives in States for reference, so it would be like a lot easier for him than us. So he asks, serious question: would I, being Alain, feel safe going to a game in Mexico? Would love to experience it, but the events from the last couple of weeks are worrisome.
Well, maybe if it's now, I suppose it would be safe because
Yeah.
the teams and the presidents of each team
Yeah.
had these meetings and they implemented extra security now.
Mhm.
So right now
Mhm.
they're putting the band-aid on. So every stadium has extra security, and there are new politics like with fan IDs that are matched to
Okay.
your government ID card and blah blah blah. Right. So it's gonna be safer for a few months. But I also think that these guys are not taking the problem seriously, and if it's costing them extra money, those new measures will eventually just go away.
Oh, man.
Right?
Ah.
So I think if he's like alone, or if he has friends and he's going to the stadium with friends and stuff like that, and he has like contacts in Mexico that will be like, hey, let's go to, I don't know, shadow side of the stadium, like the pricey tickets. I'm sure he'll be safe there. But if you want to go like the full barra experience and go to the
Mm.
south, no, I wouldn't advise that. Or if he
Okay.
wants to go with his family, I wouldn't advise that right now.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
not worth it.
Man, Jose, it's been so interesting, and thank you so much for jumping on the show. It was really, really, really interesting, and we learned a lot today. Just before we let you go, I want a prediction for the game in Montreal, man.
My prediction for the game.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
not wrong.
yeah,
Yeah, look, we will all go through the exercise with
yeah,
you.
yeah. Don't worry, we'll
We'll,
we'll go
we'll
through
give ours.
it.
2-0 for Cruz Azul.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Whoa!
Okay.
3-0 on
someone is
aggregate to
confident.
finish. Wow. Okay,
Damn.
guys, go ahead. Hadi, start first, man.
I would say 2-1 Montreal, and Cruz Azul goes
Goes
through
through.
on away goal.
Okay, Eve.
I'm gonna say 1-0 Cruz Azul, and then they will close up shop and they will do that 2-4-3.
I will say that the Olympic Stadium will play in our favor immensely, and we'll win 1-0. And I don't like to say who wins on penalties because it's a throw of the dice. So we're going to penalties, and may the best team win.
May the most lucky win.
Yeah, yeah. In a sense, yeah,
If-
absolutely.
At least we know if it goes to an 11th penalty, we know our goalkeeper Sebastian
Yeah, he's
Breza
able to
can
do
score a
it.
penalty.
Kelly, I'm not sure if mine can, but he's a very
You have
good
to.
penalty catcher.
Stopper. Okay.
Stopper,
Ooh.
yes.
Okay.
Very good. He's 41, but
Ah,
good. Yeah.
Oh
very
yeah, he's still really good.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Good hair too, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really good. Jose, just before we let you go, man, can you just tell our listeners where they can find you if they want to follow you, if they want to follow your podcast? What are your links, man?
Yes. Well, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Motogrifo. That's MOTOGRIFO. And El Podcast Azul is at El Podcast Azul. Basically, if you speak Spanish, well, you're gonna get that right away. I'll try not to spell that because I'm too tired.
Don't worry.
yeah.
You had a night last night. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Thank you. I want to thank you so much for having me
man.
here. I'm having a great time. I'm having a great Sunday because of this this activity. So I want to wish you the best. I want to wish you best of luck, but not better than our luck. So we'll see Wednesday. May the best team win.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I hope we're gonna win. Just because I want no Mexican teams in the semifinals.
Oh
That's
my
like I'll be
God.
so happy. I'll be so happy. Just 1 year. I just want 1 year without Mexican
I'll
teams
tell
in
you
the
just this one
semifinals.
thing. Pumas might be like tired and they have been using the whole team like for a couple
Yeah.
weeks now, but they also play Ciudad de Mexico and Seoul. Their stadium is also 3,500 meters over sea level.
Oh
So
crap.
they
That's
can come back,
high.
and they're super aggressive. Like his fullback, their fullbacks are like they go all the way.
Mm.
They're attackers basically.
But
They
they're
attack
playing. They're
25.
playing. They're
So
playing a very good team too.
yeah,
So
they
New
can.
England is
If there's
not
a team that can,
a small
that
team.
is them. I'm not sure about Leon, to be honest.
Okay.
From those two, the one who maybe can come back is Pumas.
Okay.
That's it.
I
We'll
will
see.
keep an eye on this.
We'll
man.
see.
Yeah. So, Jose,
Mhm.
it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much, and all the best for your podcast and for everything else, man.
Hey,
been a
no, thank
pleasure.
you guys for having me. Thank you, Sam, Eve, Hadi. Thank you all the listeners from the Wallis Round, Montreal. I had a really great time here.
Likewise, man.
You're welcome anytime,
Thank
man.
you
Have a
so
nice evening.
much.
Thanks.
Take
Bye,
care.
Jose Luis.
Wow.
What
Guys,
a
I'll say it
learning
again, man. We're so
experience.
lucky. We're so lucky, man.
We
With
are.
our guests, they're always awesome, man. Every single week, it's great when we
I
have the
was
guests.
like, oh my gosh, he's going into the tactics. I thought Sammy must be in seventh heaven.
Oh yeah, I was pretty happy, man.
It was very
I know that's
interesting.
very.
He kept
Oh,
he kept
so
it real. I
interesting.
loved it.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
loved it. I
yeah.
really loved it.
No, it was
So,
awesome. I loved it.
well, it kind of helps us because we had a quick review that we wanted to do for the Cruz Azul game before we go into the NYCFC, but he
Yeah.
touched on a lot of subjects, so I had a
I
few
kind of.
lines written down. I just want to hear you guys on the game. First of all, we won't. I don't want us to go back into what happened because it's very
Yeah.
similar to pretty much everything that
Mm,
happened this year. So I just don't want us to ramble on. I want to hear you on certain points. So first of
oh,
all, I want to hear you on what did you like or what did you think of the first minutes of Robert Tarkelson for the club, Eve?
so I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt because he was coming on from a player who had an absolute nightmare of a performance. But honest to my goodness, I quite enjoyed what he was bringing as well. I think and Jose kind of gave us probably an idea that Cruz Azul was basically closing up shop for the
Yeah.
night. So he might have gotten off a little bit easier than he would in a full 90. But overall, I liked what he brought. I thought his passes were interesting in the attacking half of the field. I thought he wasn't trying as much risky maneuvers as some of our other left wing backs have tried, and I thought he held up pretty well for somebody who hasn't played professional minutes in oh god, I don't even know how long now, but months and months and months and months.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, maybe a year even.
More
Because
than a year.
more than a year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hadi, do you echo Eve's take?
Yeah, I would add something else. He had the right attitude. When you're a
Mhm.
young player, you're coming into your first game. What the coach is going to tell you: play simple, play safe, and that's exactly what he did. Play simple, play safe, and he
Chan
did that.
recognized that.
Yeah.
Exactly, he did that to the perfection, right? Very simple passes. He was holding his position down defensively. Offensively, he didn't try anything too risky. I think that's exactly what we wanted to see from a player like that, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it for the next game. Also, we'll see how he adapted in the next game, and we'll talk about it a bit later. But yeah, no, very good. But as Eve said, it was it was very hard to do worse than the
Ah,
player that he replaced, right?
Oh
So
my god.
and
yeah,
I'm just taking Torkelson's perspective. I think he obviously you're sitting on the bench and you know that the player that's playing in your position is having a nightmare. So for sure that kind of you don't want to see your competition in a sense underperform, but you know you're going on the pitch a bit lighter already because there's not much you can do worse than what just happened in a sense. And I think for Torkelson, he first dip of the toe, you want to do it clean, you want to do it good,
yeah,
you don't want to make too many mistakes. And I think he will just be happy. It was a very clean performance, and he'll just be happy to have got his minutes and now move on. You won't think about this game too long. You won't overanalyze his performance. He'll just be happy to have done what he did, and then we move on. And now we get into maybe a bit more technical, tactical, and because it was a very simple game he played. He didn't overplay it. He didn't. You saw that he didn't have a lot of minutes in Nancy's tactics, so he kept it simple. I really liked it, and it's all good. That's good. Sometimes you have to keep it really simple, and he did it well, man. Last question before we move on, guys. I want to hear you on Wilfred Nancy after the game, saying that he kind of liked the performance of his team and that we were maybe a bit panicking, the fans, and also his comments. We asked Jose, but I want to hear you guys on the fact that we defended kind of well because we were not letting them get clean shots on goals. Whoever wants to start, I have a few things to say on that.
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna start. I'm not gonna be long this time. It's BS. It's really BS, right? I'm sorry. It's what Wilfried Nancy said. It's just a way. It's just a way of keeping the pressure off his players and protecting
Yeah.
his players.
Yeah, I saw it as
But
defending them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
not
too.
really defending them. He's protecting
Mm.
them because he didn't
Okay.
say they were great. He just said
No.
that he just said they did what they could, right?
Yeah.
And I think, and when he says, "Yeah, we're panicking a bit," like the fan base is really panicking. I kind of understand him, but at the end of the day, we still have to panic because like the beginning of the season is really
But-
not good.
Well,
So-
yeah.
Go ahead, Eve.
No, I was gonna say, last year, obviously at the end of the day, the results weren't there for Montreal, right? But we could see some good things coming on. We could see good chemistry building. We saw a kind of a more possession-based, kind of attacking, exciting style of play from Montreal. And so we were kind of like, okay, well, the results aren't there, but it looks like the project is going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then this year, it's just been a shambles. I'm sorry, but like Montreal put together one complete performance versus Cruz Azul, who was probably at
Santos.
their lowest point. Yeah,
Santos.
sorry,
Yeah.
Santos. He was obviously at their lowest point, and we're really kind of easy prey. So anyway, so for me, yeah, I rolled my eyes.
Listen, I won't go back on what you guys said. I just want to go back on the little thing about he said about when we were defending kind of well because we were not letting him get clean shots on goal. We were defending like almost like last ditch tackles, blocking
Yeah,
shots. Desperate defending, and I grew up all my playing years being a defender, and you don't want to be in these situations because often when you're having to throw your whole body in front of the shot and maybe tip it with the end of your toe, is that maybe something happened beforehand, and now you weren't well positioned, or as a group you didn't defend the situation well, forcing one defender to do something a bit out of norm. So I don't like this because Nancy is going a bit against fundamentals, saying that when you're teaching kids how to defend, you don't teach them to defend last ditch. How we're doing. I know Nancy is not teaching kids right now, but there's people listening to his interviews. So maybe that's what I would say was a bit awkward, a bit saying, because defending is a concept, right? You don't, not only your defenders defend, you defend as a team. Your strikers are supposed to have some kind of
Yeah.
defensive responsibility in a press, in dropping when a midfielder gets beat. So, there's a lot of ways to defend. But to say that it wasn't a bad defensive performance because we were not letting them get clean shots on goal, that's a bit of a stretch. So I
Yeah.
just want to say, maybe I know why I said it. I know because you want to go in the press conference and have your teams back, because everyone's going to listen to his press conference on the team. That's normal. So it's okay. But man, you're going against fundamentals of defending when you're saying things like that. So that's what I didn't like. That's just my point. So, but it's all good. We're still in this tie, and we talked about it with Jose Luis, and
It's a
we know,
miracle.
yeah, it's kind of a miracle, but we'll take it. Now we move on, guys. We had that game at Yankee Stadium.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Oh
There's a lot
man,
to talk
that's
about.
gonna be tough.
Okay,
That's
but I'll
gonna be
start with
tough.
the lineup, guys. Okay. So Nasi, like I usually give the formation, but it's the same thing as since
Eternity.
Wilfred Nasi is there. So we'll start right to left from defense. We had Alistair Johnston, who started at right wing back. We had Gabriele Corbo, Joel Waterman, Kamal Miller, and Lassi Lapalainen. In midfield, we had Wanyama, Zuir, Miljevic, and up front, we had Kyoto and Camara. Breza in nets, obviously. Montreal in that game were trying to grab their first win of the season against the reigning defending champions at Yankee Stadium, and from the team that had featured in Mexico, Mihailovic, Camacho, Kone, Torres, and Zachary Bourguia had been left out of the starting 11. So, guys, when the lineup came up about 45 minutes before the game, what were your first impressions?
I wasn't very surprised to see a fair amount of rotation, knowing that Yankee Stadium is a weird stadium, right? And there's a knockout match in which Montreal does still have a stake looming midweek. So I wasn't surprised to see a lot of rotation. I was surprised to see Kamara start again. I was like, how can he do it? He's 37.
Yeah, but he's very fit, right?
He's
so
incredibly fit.
He is
he's
so
really,
fit.
really fit. So
yeah.
Of all the games that we had since the beginning of the season in MLS, this game for me was the game that we should have rotated in, because for me we don't have the team to beat New York City FC at all. Even if we have our starting 11, even with rested starting 11, I think that team is the reigning champions for a reason. So for me, I was happy to see a rotated squad, and I was like, you know what, maybe on a deflection or whatever, maybe we'll get a result. But unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. So I wasn't really surprised at all to see the amount of rotation. The few things that really made me cringe a bit, I just don't understand the wing backs. I don't understand why Alistair Johnston is playing as a right wing back, and I still don't understand why Lassie plays as a left wing back.
Thank you.
Unless you want Alistair Johnston to play a very defensive right wing back, and Lassie
doesn't even make sense.
As a very offensive left wing back. It does make sense tactically if it does, if it's put together. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't.
That's the problem. It wasn't. And then you look at the midfield. I'm like, man, okay, you gotta rotate. I understand. Why do you play Wanyama? Like, just put him on the bench, man. Play Zuhir and Kone. They're like 19 and 18. They have stamina. They're able to play 2 games in a week. You are gonna rotate. You're kind of ditching that game. Like, just ditch it. Don't play Wanyama that's played all the minutes since we started the season, or almost all the minutes since we started the season. It's just that there's stuff here that I would have done differently. But I wasn't surprised to see a rotation to answer the first question.
Yeah,
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I feel Yankee Stadium's a weird stadium to go 3/5 at the back with, because it's so flipping narrow.
I was thinking the same thing, but
Oh, okay. Go ahead then. I'll let you.
Well,
You're
in a
my
sense,
tactics guy.
no,
Go.
no, no. But I was kind of praying that maybe we'd see something different, but realistically, we weren't never gonna see anything different. And the reason, no, listen, the reason is the team flew from Mexico to New York. They practiced in New Jersey, I think on Friday, if I got it right, and they were stuck in traffic for like 4 hours before they got
Yeah,
back to. So setup wasn't good to start changing tactics, but maybe you what I would you feel you see you know, maybe the wingbacks playing a bit more like wingers because you don't have to defend so
exactly,
large and stuff.
exactly.
I wasn't expecting a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2. That was maybe some wild dreams, but still, I think that we went really as if we were playing a normal game. Really, there wasn't anything
Mm.
different because of the field, because of the changes in the lineup. So that was a bit of a disappointment for me. The thing is, I was kind of happy about when the lineup came out. I was looking at it. I was like, it's a pretty strong lineup in a sense. Yeah, yes, the wingback stuff is hurting us a bit, but I kind of liked it. I was very curious to see Kyoto and Camara up front together,
Mhm.
and yes, Miljevic was in for Mihailovic. I know, man,
Oh,
but
but you
it
know what?
wasn't a bad lineup. It wasn't a
Yeah,
bad
you
lineup
know
at all.
what? Williams played a very nice game.
He did play
He
well.
had a
Yeah,
Overall,
very
yeah.
good game.
yeah.
He really had a very good game. I just want to say, Chan said something. We didn't cross the ball enough for exploiting Camara quality. The only time we crossed, we scored. And you know what? If you're gonna play with two strikers like Kyoto and Camara, yeah, you need to cross the ball because both of them
Yep.
are so good
But
in the air.
I'll just add something. You need to cross the ball early
Yeah,
because these are
you need a
powerful
Mm.
Giza.
players.
You need a
Yes,
Giza.
but Lassie cannot
Ah,
cross the ball early. He can't. He
no,
needs
because
to
he
get
needs
to
to get
the
it on his right
in his
foot in
right
Dude,
the
foot
right
and
place.
yeah,
Lassie cannot cross the ball.
period.
Full
No,
No,
stop.
I've seen him. I've seen him do it in warm-ups. I have seen it happen in warm-ups at the Big O. I have witnessed it with my own, but of course there's no defender coming at you and so on. So in
but
a perfect circumstance, I believe Lassie can
yeah,
cross.
and that's why I think Torkelson becomes so important because he's a natural left-footed
Yeah.
player,
And
and
Yeah.
he
he's the
did
one
it.
that gave that through ball
Yes,
for the
to
goal
Yep.
that
Kyoto.
was offside.
Yes,
Yeah, that was
yes.
offside. Yeah, so
When you have
he's
these
been good.
big, powerful, physical players, if you're able to cross early, you're giving yourself a much better chance than if you delay your cross, in my opinion, because now you're forcing defenders to run facing their own goal and with the
Mhm.
pressure of that physicality on their back. So if Camara and Kyoto can see the ball's direction whilst the defenders are always turning and looking for the ball, it's so much easier for these bigger players. If you have like these smaller attackers, now you want to get to the byline and maybe cross at the penalty spot because their movement will be what creates the goal. But Camara and Kyoto, it's their physicality, it's their will to get to the ball that will create it. So that's something that I think playing Lassie and left wing back, you can't get that, unfortunately.
Mm.
Alain asks us, do we feel Nasi is able to adapt to the player? Yes. Alain will answer that question. I have it for them later on. So thanks for asking, but I'll just move on and we'll answer to your question in a few
Hmm.
minutes. So yeah, Montreal entered the game with the same intentions and ideas since we've seen from pretty much the whole season. And 7 minutes in, we got caught when Kamal Miller tried to play the ball out. The way I saw it, I saw it as a pass to Rida Zouir. After the game, Wilfred Nasi said he wasn't sure he was trying to clear the ball or pass it. He had to see it again. I watched it a few times. He clearly looks for a pass to Rida Zouir that doesn't get there.
I
And we create a
agree.
turnover 25 yards out, and a matter of seconds, the ball in the back of the net, guys.
Yeah, for me that it's oh god. Like when sorry, it's I'm just bothered. But why go so central when the pressure is so intense and at Yankee Stadium of all places, because that's where I'm sure out of the whole league the players have the least breathing room, so to speak. So I don't understand this fixation with going, not that I'm saying our wingbacks are effective. I'm just saying that when you go centrally like that, if you're gonna give up a turnover, it's gonna become a scoring opportunity that much quicker.
I'm just gonna answer that first of all by just something that's a bit funny because it's me, right? When you play long at the Yankee Stadium, it's like playing short at any other stadium anywhere, right? So
no, I'm saying why not? Why would he go more centrally?
I'm not going against you at all.
Okay.
I'm not at all. It's just a comment that I felt like saying, not at all linked to what you said. But they should have played long in that game a few times, and I agree with you that the pressure is going to be so intense on such a narrow field that I think the long option should have been more tested in that game, and it wasn't. Now, again, there's something that we need to understand. In my opinion, there's something that we need to understand. If you want to learn how to play short, you're gonna have to learn to play short as early as possible in the season, so that it grows and so that you learn the way to overcome such a pressure. Right now, our players are very young. Our players are not yet used to play to that level of pressure. When you see someone like Zuhair, when you see even Miller, yes, he played last year with us, but he's still a young guy. He's only 24, right? So, I don't want to really throw the short game out of the window. But yes, and that's what Nancy have been saying since day one of the season, of the 2022 season. We need to take better decisions. When you see that there's no issues, there's nothing that you can do and nothing's going to happen, just play long. And it's as simple as that. And we talked about it last week, and we're talking about it again today. And in that goal, I think in that game altogether, I think that Kamal Miller was just having an off day. It's as simple as that, because he had a horrible day.
Yeah.
A horrible day.
I mean, a lot of players had Victor Wanyama had a torrid match.
I just want to, if you don't mind, just highlight something that Marco Telohuro said.
Yeah.
And I really, because I like to find positives whenever everything is really going wrong. And Marco says Waterman's one of the only bright spots of the season so far, and I completely agree with him. Man. We saw Jose Luis that says exactly he was impressed by him. Of all our players, we weren't expecting Waterman to be named by Jose Luis, right? So, he's been very good, Joel Waterman, even if during that game against Cruz Azul, I think it was the first 45 minutes were the worst of Joel Waterman's season so far. So if he was good for those 45 minutes, that means that he's really doing well. So I just want to mention that, because it's important to realize that Waterman's growing.
Yeah. No, credit where it's due.
Okay, guys. So that was the first goal. Then against the run of play on a superb set piece, Joel Waterman, he had a glorious opportunity from a very, very good cross from Rida Zouhir, but he missed. That was a
silly, a good cross. Yeah,
that was a fantastic cross, and that could have changed the game and given confidence to a team that really needs confidence at the moment. And what was bound to happen happened. A few minutes later, Sebastian Breza played the ball out to Victor Wanyama, who had a player on his back, creating a turnover 20 yards out, and 5 seconds later, the ball is in the back of the net. Same thing as the first goal.
Something that I don't understand on that play.
So go ahead, please.
How can someone lob Sebastian Breza? How? The guy is so tall? He's the guy. The guy is
Breza was off his line because he was passing to Wanyama. That's the reason.
Yeah, but man, you're off your line. You're playing a risky pass. You make sure that you don't get lobbed, and especially when you're that tall. That's your strength, right? For me, it's so humiliating for Breza to be lobbed.
Man, I'm not too sure, man, because he wasn't. In his mind, Wanyama gets his pass right, and he doesn't have to be 20 yards back.
Really? Are you going to blame Wanyama for that pass?
Sorry?
Are you blaming Wanyama for that?
No, not at all. If I have to blame something on that on that play is the ideas around everything.
Yeah.
The whole fundamentals. Because the idea obviously is get the ball to Wanyama under pressure. Wanyama beats the pressure, and we open up spaces. That's
Mhm.
the whole point of it, and that's not what happened. But when you're playing that risky game, what happens then? You concede quickly because you're so
Well,
out of position, and you're
yeah.
committing so much to absorbing the pressure to turn out of it and get your pass off, that when it does go south, you're almost always conceding. So I'm not blaming Breza. I'm not blaming Wanyama. I'm blaming the whole concept.
Sorry, man. I'm blaming Breza.
Okay,
Because
well,
Breza is the one watching the play, right? He's the one. He's of all the players on the pitch, the one that can see the whole pitch is Breza. So when he
Yeah.
gives the ball to Wanyama, he's supposedly seeing a play that could be done by Victor Wanyama. And unfortunately, like, unless Wanyama was supposed to magically control the ball, use his body to, rub off two defenders and, dribble another two to give a pass, I don't see how Breza saw this play turn, be positive.
well, I
And
think
that's,
he was expecting Wanyama to turn under pressure, to shield the player off and
he
turn
has
under
two
pressure.
players on him.
But yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna
one
say,
and a half.
like, why would you expect that of your man who's right
Or
by
maybe
you?
that's-
Because if
maybe
Victor
it's
Wanyama
patterns.
had but like if Victor Wanyama had two people on him, someone was free somewhere on the pitch.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
no.
that's when I agree with Nancy. Is that, what, maybe the fundamentals is to play short, but it's the players on the pitch that have to take the decision to play long when they need to play long. And in this play, on this exact play, Breza should have played long, because he's able to see that Wanyama is not going to be able to do anything. And if he does, it will be a lucky break, because he has nobody beside him that can help him.
Yeah.
So
No,
I don't know.
you're man.
And Chan agrees with me, so thank you.
Yes,
And
yeah. Okay.
Chan-
Obviously is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, well, we were kind of in it, but I'll ask the question still. It seems to be a recurring sight, right? 3 times yesterday. We'll get to the fourth goal. Sorry.
Oh my God, we're not even there. I forgot about that. Oh God.
Are the players at fault? Because on Twitter, I've read a lot of comments bashing the players, and very few on the coaching staff who have instructed the players to play in a certain fashion. So, yeah, and that's where we are with Alain's question, kind of, is do we feel that Nasi is able to adapt to the player he has? And my sub-question, in a sense, is if he does, when the players make mistakes out of it, are the players really to blame at 100%? Like we're saying, like Breza can't play the ball off his feet. Wanyama shouldn't be playing these passes. Camacho, Waterman, Miller shouldn't be playing these. Their passes are too weak. Their passes are not precise enough. Like, what do we have to understand of all this situation, man?
So I guess what I would say is, because like what we've heard kind of after the fact in conferences and whatnot from Nancy is like the team needs to make a decision on when they're playing short versus not, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that means he's not saying you must play short, which is kind of like, I
he's
think,
obviously not saying that.
No, but I think like to some degree that was kind of what Thierry Henry had done. Like he was like, you must play short. So then if he's giving the players the liberty to make that decision, that means that the players are the ones who are deciding, okay, I look at what I'm seeing and I think this is the right time to go short. I think this is the right time to go long. And 90% of the time for them, it's short. So for me, I mean, if the coach is giving them the options, then I would have to blame the players making the decisions on the pitch. But I would say it's the coach who sets the tactics, and if you know that your team is more apt to play short, I would be instructing the players, nearby or further up, to start making some moves, because it's so flipping static when they start playing short that they get stuck, because nobody's trying to create space for the man. So I'm gonna put it back. Honestly, at the end of the day, I'm gonna flip it back on Nancy.
I don't think there's anyone to blame.
Yeah,
To be honest,
it's a tough question, man. Yeah.
It's for me. Nancy has decided to have a style of play, right? We've been talking since 2012, for the last 10 years, that Montreal doesn't have an identity. We finally have one. Okay, we have an identity. We play from the back. We play possession football. That's what we play, right? That's the way we play. The thing is, Wilfried Nancy and Olivier Renard and everybody in the club are aware that we're building something, and we're building it with young players. And with young players, mistakes are going to happen. Okay? The thing is, what's important right now is to be real to that identity. And that's exactly what Nancy's doing. That's why he's backing he's protecting his players in pressers. He's just not really bashing them, because he understands that mistakes are going to happen. And even just before the game against New York City FC, in the presser, he said, you know what? People are really panicking, but if you count, we just played seven bad minutes since the beginning of the season. I understand that it's BS, like I said earlier. But
those are rose-colored glasses.
I don't think it is. I just think that he's sticking to his fundamentals, and I think it's very important to do so. Now, the problem that I have is that, do we agree with those fundamentals? And if you don't agree with the fundamentals, that's something completely different. But can you blame a coach for playing his fundamentals, what he wants to see, and to play his vision? I can't blame the coach. Now,
but what?
I just fast.
I'm going to let you finish. No,
it's
finish.
a 2 point. It's a 2 point.
Okay.
Because
I think your 2 point might be me. Go.
Sorry.
I think your two. I think my intersection is hopefully going to be answered by your second point. So go.
Yeah, maybe. Now the second point is the players' point of view. Okay, the players have to grow from being players that they are right now to being players in Nancy's system, and that's exactly what they have to learn. Last year, we saw that those players really rally behind Nancy's vision. Are we going to see the same thing this year?
Yeah, that's the danger.
And that's the danger. Yeah. Now, the thing is, we need to make sure that those players don't do the same mistakes over and over and over again. So when I look at what we've seen so far from the season, if I look at players that have been making the same mistakes, right now I only see one player, and not to blame himself, but it's only one player that's been making the same mistakes over and over again, and it's Breza. It's as simple as that. And I'm not really bashing Breza for fun of it, and everybody knows that I'm more Pantemis than Breza, but that's not the reason behind it. It's because Breza has done that mistake quite a few times. And for me, that's a problem. We have a problem there. So that's where, can I blame Breza for everything that's going wrong with the club? No, but I think he has to take some blame. I think that Nancy has to sit with him to tell him, you know what, dude, please play long from time to time.
An office talk, yes!
An office talk with a cup of tea. So that's what he needs. But yeah, I just finished my 2 points. So there's blame on both sides, and there's no blames on any side.
Yeah, I know, man, and I try to keep it, to see both sides or every side, because there's a lot of sides in here. But there's one thing though, because you say Nancy's protecting his players, I agree. He did it after the game in Cruz Azul, but after the game in, was it Orlando? Yeah, I think it was Orlando. He was mad after, and he kind of went into his players, and even after the Philly game, he had some comments about not doing exactly what we should and making mistakes. So there's one thing here that I don't like, okay? If you are giving a lot of, how could I say, a lot of leash to your players, you take the decision. You have the judgment to take the right decisions.
Yeah, for sure.
When you make a mistake, you can't blame them. They went with their judgment. They
I
went with
understand.
the leash that you gave them. So that's the thing that I don't like. You can't go after and say, listen, the players didn't, they should be making better decisions. And there's one thing at halftime, his TVA interview,
Yeah.
he said, we need to think when we play.
Hmm.
Well, what's that all about, man?
That's exactly what I said earlier.
Well,
They
well,
need
what
to
I'm
know
saying
they
is,
need to use their judgments, and they're
yeah,
not
but
choosing the right judgment. They're not taking the right decisions in some situations.
well,
I
maybe
talked
some
about Breza.
situations should not be left to judgment then.
I understand.
If
So at that
if we're
point,
at that point,
I,
maybe there's some situations that
No,
the players
but
should be having clear instructions. In these particular situations, you do this, and you have
okay,
your judgment calls in this situation or that
but
situation. Because obviously, there's something that's going wrong this season
mm,
with that player. So I don't know, man. It's a
well,
tough one. I don't like when players get bashed on, man. It's
of
there was a
course,
lot of
you're
this
an
recently,
ex-player,
and
right? So
maybe, man.
no, no. I feel like for me, especially where so much of the team is young and inexperienced, or relatively young and inexperienced, for me, if you give it a time or two, right, and then you realize that they're consistently not making the right decisions, then obviously they need more structure. So give them the structure, and that for me is on the coach.
yeah.
True. Okay, guys. So we'll go back to the game quickly. So we went into halftime and we had a lot of comments come in. Eddie, I think you should put them on the screen because
Oh yeah, there's so many comments. So,
Oh boy.
but I don't know which one you wanna put. There's so
well,
many.
just go quickly. I'll read a few because we had a lot of comments come in, and I mean at halftime of the game. Did you get them, Eddie? For
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay. I thought the comments right now during the live.
no,
Yeah, for sure. I do have them. So we'll start with this one.
yeah. So we had Robbie Tiranardi said it's very discouraging. Team looks weak and disorganized. Understand fatigues and injury, but there's Luis Gonsalves who said that honestly the team seems lost on the pitch and poorly trained, and he even gave the hashtag Nancy out. That's a bit harsh. That's a bit harsh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Luis.
And we have others. Yves Laurent said having different people for every game is really hurting the chemistry and effectiveness. Champions League injuries are really causing problems. It's a long season. Things will gel if veterans do their jobs. Otherwise, it would skid badly. We had L'Enfant Bleu. A good chunk of Canadian men national team is on that back line, which makes one wonder if this lack of chemistry will affect the upcoming qualifiers. So the vibe was very negative going into halftime. Right?
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a question that's I think someone asked me or asked the TBR account, and are we looking at Nancy and Renard differently now? Because everybody was in love with Renard and Nancy, and you look at the international players not really doing much, and you look at Nancy right now not really able to have a vision that brings results. Do you think that now the honeymoon between the tandem Renard Nancy and the fans is done, or do you think can we blame them for something, or do you think it's still too early? Eve, I see you nodding.
I think the honeymoon is over, definitely. To answer that part of your question. Obviously, I think the longer we go on without seeing any sort of tactical flexibility as far as formation, at least from Nancy, especially in matches where you feel like a back three is not well placed, like Yankee Stadium being prime example. In looking at other fitness and injuries, you're kind of like question mark. But for me, I always put it back to, the league is developing at a certain pace, and is Montreal being equipped to develop at the same pace? That's how I always bring it that way.
Sam?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's why it's called a honeymoon, right? And it's in any relationship when you start it, you think it's gonna be the best, and then after some time, you work on stuff and you keep it going. Now it's more of a teamwork, and so listen, I'm still all in Wilfred, and I'm all in Renard, but no, there's some things that need to change, I think. And not only talking, it's not only talking press conferences, and there's some
Mhm.
some concrete actions that need to happen. But these guys are intelligent football people. Nassi's, I'm convinced he's a very good coach. Renard, he's made his mark as a technical director, so there's no doubt we have competent people in Montreal. Now they need to act on it. And Nassi, I'll give him a lot of benefit of doubt. Now we're playing every 3 days, and we're traveling a lot. He can't practice, so now we'll have that break that he's talking about so much after the Atlanta game. And it's going to be interesting to see when we come back from that break if there's adjustments that are made, or if we go right back to what we've been doing for a year and a half. So it's then that we'll see for Nancy. And
Mm.
right now, the window is in July, so maybe there's something coming up. Difficult to say, but
No, the window is in May, right?
in May, my bad.
And there's a second one that opens for a month in June, July.
Oh, my bad. Okay,
That's two.
so maybe there's something coming up. So I think patience is important,
Okay.
but that something needs to happen. And I'll start with on the pitch. I think we have a team that should be close to the playoff spots. We shouldn't be playing that way. We shouldn't be having these results right now. So mostly on
Yeah.
the pitch, we have to see some changes. So that's just my feeling. But let's go back to the game, guys, man. So at halftime, Nasi thought the changes were needed,
my-
and he acted on it. And something we don't see a lot of Wilfred Nasi, triple change at halftime. Off came Lapalainen, Johnston, and Zuir. In came Bogiar, Torkelson, and Mihalovic. Instantly, there was a change, that gave a new life to the team. Much more interesting what we were offering. Very, very good. And, ZBG missed a huge opportunity, but 2 minutes later, Mihalovic went through that left wing and crossed it through the goal, and there you are. So we kind of see, that's where I want to be positive a bit. We saw two sides of that system, right? Never would you have seen Bogial in that situation with Rémi Garde or even Thierry Henry. So
yeah, and credit to Wilfried Nancy to have for those changes, because we're criticizing him a lot because he's not getting results, but he's trying. He's maybe not changing the system like a lot of people want to see, but he's trying different things with different roles within that same system, and it's working. And sometimes it's working. And in this game, it did work for 20 minutes,
briefly,
25 minutes. But it's still 25 minutes. Like, it's half of the second half, right? So we did well. I think we were the better team for 20 minutes. So that's pretty good. Now we need to make sure that we're the better team on the whole game. I'm still, just one small thing, I'm still not worried yet. It's too early, guys. Out of the 6 games that we played, 4 of them were away from home. 4 of them. We lost 1 game at home against Philadelphia. We won the other one.
Yeah, and the Big O is not necessarily home either.
And it's not
right?
necessarily home, and it's still
okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. For me, it's the way in which they've lost the matches that has driven me up the wall.
It's New York City FC, man. Like, they're gonna lose them.
I know. I'm talking cumulatively here. Except for Santos Laguna away, the way in which they've lost all of the matches that they've lost has bothered me deeply.
No, man,
because it's been a different way to lose each time.
So maybe at one point there will not be another way, right?
Yeah,
so
we will just run out of ways to lose.
They would have learned all the ways to lose, and then they won't lose anymore, right?
But
oh man, that feels like some Jedi stuff. But yeah.
But Hattie, you're right, man. These 25 minutes, I think the team should definitely build on them. And when he's gonna do that video session, I know he's gonna show the mistakes and how to build on them. But I think you need to sit in front of these 25 minutes and say, the guys, look, this is when we're doing good. This is what we're doing. The penetration was good. There was some good combinations. There was some good movement in these moments. There was life in the team. I think really they should emphasize on this and work on these minutes, because it's been a tough year. We'll say it that way. You need to build on something, and these 25 minutes are a good building block, in my opinion. So, guys, for this game, I don't think there's much to say either. The fourth goal, the third goal was just a very good cross on Thales
Yeah.
Magno's head, and the fourth goal was the same thing as the first and the second. So yeah, not much to say. What I want to say, any Adi, you
Yeah,
had
I
something
just
to say?
I just want to add one thing. Talis Magno, what an amazing
Oh
player.
yeah, man.
Oh my
They paid
god,
for
he's
him.
so much fun to
He's-
watch.
He cost 8 million, man.
Yeah, but you know that I think he was the man of the match, and he
Mm-hmm.
was so important to uh to uh to beat the Montreal press. The pressing that
Yeah.
Montreal was trying to do, every time it was Talis Magno that was making himself available between the lines to get the ball and to beat the Montreal press every single time. And that player, yes, he costs 8 million. He's 19, he's Brazilian, but I think he's so important.
He's
and he
gonna
scored a
be
goal,
quite a
too.
player.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I think his development will be really exciting to watch, and I think it'll be something good, for MLS as a whole.
Yeah, man, definitely. So, guys, quickly, like we always do after the games, unless you wanted to add something on the post game pressers, I think we
I'm
we
good.
talked about
I'm
it.
good.
I wasn't there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't there. So
I listened to it. There's not much to say. It was the same thing as a lot of the recent
Mhm.
pressers. So we'll just move on to. I want to hear, guys, maybe your performance of the game, a player that you liked, and I want to hear your disappointment of the game. But it doesn't need to be a player necessarily. It can be a moment. It can be whatever. Whatever. We don't have to point someone out. So, but performance, I like a player though.
There's two players that stood out for me. The first one, it's Miljevic. I think he had a very good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say three players. Miljevic had a very good game, in my opinion. Waterman was pretty good in that game. And the third one for me is Georgi Mihailovic. He was awesome when he came in. Gave an assist. It really changed the whole game for those 20 minutes, right? So those are the three, but I think the first two are a lot more important with Miljevic and Waterman. I think it's important to have your rotation players be good. Now we need the other players to step up.
For the love of God.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Do I need to give also the worst
It can be anything that disappointed you on that game.
Anything that disappointed me, I think I said it
I think
earlier. It's Breza. As simple as that. So yeah.
Eve.
Yeah, I think I liked the triple sub. I thought that it was an appropriate reaction by Wilfried Nancy, and I think obviously the subs did have an impact. Overall, I'd like to see some more of Robert Thorkelson. I'm sure he needs a little bit to get up to fitness. So once he's fit, I would like to see him start a game and see what he can give us over 90 minutes. And then my disappointment, and I'm going to kind of put a grain of salt on it. I'm going to say I thought Victor Wanyama had a really disappointing match. However, I think also he should have been rested. Yeah. So I'm also then disappointed kind of in Wilfried Nancy's choice to start him. And obviously he left the match in some discomfort. So we really have to hope that he will be recovered for the return leg versus Cruz Azul, because otherwise Montreal is in a hot pile of you know what.
I really liked in fact, it's pretty simple. I like the three players that came on, Thorkelson, Bogiog, and Mihailovic. They were excellent, and I kind of grow a bit excited to see what the tandem of Bogiog on the right and Thorkelson on the left can bring if we do keep that wing back system, So that's definitely something that is positive. And my disappointment, it's not necessarily with the game, but explain me why. You fly from Mexico to New York and you have to practice in New Jersey. This is crazy. And be stuck 4 hours in traffic, man.
You don't have access. You don't have access to Yankees
something that has
Stadium.
To be done, man. That's
the MLS.
That's
right?
the MLS. I know, but this is the situation these players are put in. So it kind of brings some perspective to what happened this week. And
Yeah.
Maybe helps us being a bit less harsh, even though by our standards we were pretty negative today.
Chan and Alain are saying Miller is having a sloppy beginning of the season. I kind of agree, but I
Yeah.
don't think he's that bad. Now, don't forget that we know that he's injured, right? So,
Yeah.
like he's
Mhm.
playing injured, and it's clear. So just
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Yeah. So, guys, as it stands, we're sitting dead last in the Eastern Conference with 0 points in 3 games, a differential of -6. We scored 2 goals and conceded 8. The good news, there's still 31 games to go.
And a lot of home games.
Oh yeah, a lot of home games. So
Mhm.
let's keep it positive, guys. Moving on, Jonathan Sirois extends his contract, a 1+1 contract, so 1 year plus 1 option year, and he and Sean Rea loaned out immediately to Valor. The club keeps the option to end the loan at any time. And just a quick reminder: last year, with Valor, Sirois won goalie of the year and recorded 9 clean sheets and 94 saves throughout the season. And Sean Rea played 23 games in the CPL, scored 1 goal, and collected 4 assists. My question is very simple: good move for the kids?
Great move. Great
Mhm.
move. And you know what? I'm gonna go even farther. The first one is just humor me, okay? I'm just gonna give you a scenario. Pantemis is at the end of his contract at the end of the year. Breza's on loan. Do you think that Sirois is the next number one in 2023?
Well, it could happen. It could happen, man.
I would love that. I would love that.
I mean,
Love that.
yeah. Honestly, that would be. I would feel bad for Pantemis because I would feel like he got done dirty by Montreal.
He was given a lot of chances, right?
But like he didn't get as much development as like loan experience and stuff.
Yeah, he didn't have
But it would be really exciting to see a keeper who like got the proper loan experience and then was properly able to debut and take ownership of the goalkeeper spot. Yeah, that would excite the bejesus out of me. But overall, I think it's great, and I like that they're going back to the same teams, and they're going to have some continuity in that experience as well.
Yeah. Listen, Hadi, your scenario might happen because if Breza goes back to Italy and Pantemis says, you know what, I'm testing the market. I'm a free agent and I'll test the market. Well, if Montreal can't resign Pantemis, Sirois becomes your number one if you don't go get anyone. I think that could be something that is a real possibility.
Don't forget that in MLS you can't really test the market as a free agent. You have to have a certain amount of years of service to be completely free. I think it's 5 now, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Eve.
It's me holding it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it is 5. It was 9 at one point.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
it's been reduced.
Oh
to
yeah,
5.
no, the new CBA is so much better.
Yeah, so it's been 5. So I think he will be at his 4th or 5th season. So it's pretty close, but we have to make sure that he will be able to test the market if
Yeah, but I mean, if he says, I'm not interested to play anymore for you guys, so just let me go, man. That could happen. I mean, Montreal don't have any interest in keeping him, so that could make him. Well, we're really far, anyways. But it's a good thing, to say, what, Sirois, it might happen. Go play as much as you can. Face shots. Like get bombarded with shots and maybe you'll come back and be an MLS starter. You don't know, man. So it's interesting.
He needs to confirm his first season first. Like he needs to be as good as he was in the first season with Valor this season. That's the first thing. And for Rea, because we didn't talk a lot about him, I'm happy also because he had an okay season with Valor last year. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, and then he wasn't really good afterwards. He wasn't bad. He just wasn't as good as he was. So let's hope that he can have a full season where he's consistent and be good the whole season, and that's gonna help a lot. I love these loans. I love it.
Yeah, I really like them too. So that's good, man. It's good, and they're playing against man. They're playing in a professional league. It's great. So I think it's all good for the team, and it's really good for them, because if they were to be maybe featured in Canadian Championship sparingly and maybe as a sub for a few minutes here and there, they're better off on loan in the CPL, and it's great. So good decision by Montreal, in my opinion. Guys, anything to add on that? No. Moving on. The women under 20 team has qualified for the 2022 World Cup, which will be held in Costa Rica. It's another testament of how good our national program is at the moment, especially the youth system. Guys, I must admit, I didn't follow much of their journey recently. So maybe even Hadi, you can educate me a bit on their team and their path to the World Cup, if you may.
Yeah, for sure. So, sorry, Hadi, I'm just sleeping in.
Okay.
So obviously, overall, Canada had a pretty, if I'm going to be honest, their group, they won it very handily, and rightfully so. They were in a group with El Salvador, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Trinidad, and Tobago, I believe. So they won really, really handily. And then, of course, Canada then played Panama in the quarterfinals. They won that one on a absolutely worse than Big O field. There were giant puddles in the middle of the pitch. It was shocking. It was like playing in a bog. Yeah. They won, and thankfully everybody left relatively unscathed. And then, unfortunately, Canada had to face off against Mexico in the semifinals, where they lost 1-0. And you can tell the difference. I think a lot of the Mexican players are already playing pro in Liga MX women's. Mm-hmm. And the Canadian women's international team, the vast majority of them are playing in the college system. And you can really see the difference in those players who have pro experience versus the players who are still playing at the collegiate level. And I'm not going to lie, 1-0 is a decent scoreline to lose on, for sure. It's complimentary, but you can tell that there's that gulf. And I'm gonna come in and bang my drum about the women's pro league again, because you could see a gulf in class for sure between the Mexican women's team and the Canadian side.
Cool.
Yeah, I would add just quite a few. I agree with everything what Yves said. I would add just a few things. First of all, it's time for Canada to have their league, their women's league, their professional women's league, because before, maybe 5-6 years ago, we would never have thought that Canada would lose a game against Mexico on the women's side. Never. At any level, U17, U20, whatever. And I think Mexico is closing the gap just because they have a women's league and it's working. Yeah. And it is working. So I don't know why it wouldn't work in Canada. Just maybe just the distances that are problematic, of course. So I think we need that. Second of all, I want to give them an excuse somewhere, because that team was playing with each other for the first time. Those players have never played with each other before. So it's a pretty new team. Some of them, most of the players, it was their first international experience altogether. Mm-hmm. Their first international experience. So you're going from the college soccer system to a qualifying for the World Cup U20. The gap is enormous, right? And one last thing that's also very positive. We talked about Stéphanie Labbé being retired right now. We talked about Caitlin Sheridan, and we were talking about D'Angelo and who's going to be the third one, because Erin McLeod is 38. Anna Karpenko, the goalkeeper of that team, won goalkeeper of the tournament. So that's very, very interesting. She's at Harvard University right now. She's 19. Let's hope that she chooses a professional career and goes to NWSL or whatever, and maybe become our third goalkeeper within the senior team. That could be possible too. So I don't know. I think there are some encouraging things, but I also think that, in order to go one step further and to grow a bit more, we need that women's professional soccer league here in Canada. For sure.
I'm going to make us t-shirts, Hadi. You and me, we're going to have to put on t-shirts every pod and advertise.
I agree. And just for the third place, we won 2-0
Yeah.
against Puerto Rico. And there's a Quebecer that scored a goal, Florian Jourde from Quebec, that scored one of the goals. So it's always nice to see Quebecers,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
represent
And
the country.
lo and behold, and I mean, even Alain has a connection because, of course, we know Alain lives in the Seattle area. And small world, Zoe Burns, who played as well in the tournament, has a funny connection to Alain, which is cool because she played for the same club as one of his kids.
Nice.
Yeah.
So really interesting, guys. Thanks, and congrats to the ladies, man. It's good. It's good. It's gonna be interesting to follow. When's the World Cup, guys? When does it start?
That's a very good
God.
question.
Okay.
But I think it's in July.
I'm like,
but-
July.
I know it's in Costa Rica.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
that's about all I recall. But
And
no,
we'll
I believe it
definitely-
is in July.
it is not in
Oh,
August.
August.
In August. Cool.
10th of August till the 28th of August.
So we'll be
2020.
covering
Yep.
it here at the Ball is Round for sure.
For
So
sure.
Of course.
Really interesting. Cool, guys. So, guys, I think we're done for part one. And this week, you guys changed it up. So, Adi, I'll
We
throw it to you, and
switched.
I want to know who shone on social media this week.
Listen, it was very, very hard to choose tweets on social media this
yeah.
week. A lot of negativism going around, and you all know on the Ball is Round, we really try to be not 100% Eve. Just try to be.
There we go.
try
I
to
was
show-
like, oh, Hattie.
we try to show another side when we have Hattie and Sam really trying to pull away from Eve's pessimism.
I've
So-
struggled this week, to be honest.
yeah,
man.
me too. Me too. Have you heard me today?
Oh, man.
Now, I did choose quite a few tweets, 5 to be
Okay.
exact. So I'll start with the first one. It's in French, so I'm going to translate it. But I think it's important that we talk about it. I did ask a question on social media, and I said, if you had to choose a player from MLS to go into that CF Montreal side, very important, it doesn't have to be a DP. Who would you choose? And Amin Sabri, who's a very loyal listener of the show, said he would choose Diego Shara. He's a town player, 670,000. His salary. He would be very, very, very interesting for Montreal, as per Amin Sabri. He said that this guy never stops. He's a machine in the midfield and a real winner.
Yes.
Guys, I want to hear your thoughts about that question and about the answer of Amin, knowing that Diego Shara is 35 right now, or 34, 35.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Philly had stats, and I'm quite confident they must have stopped being relevant. But I know as of 2019, they had not won a game without Diego Shara on the pitch, which is
You
just
mean Portland?
wild.
You said Philly.
Portland.
You mean
Portland,
Portland.
I totally meant. I
Okay.
of course
It's okay,
meant
it's okay.
Portland.
It's okay. I just want to make sure that we're talking about.
I'm
the same
so
Diego
sorry.
Shara.
I finished, guys. I finished my beer, so we're at that.
Oh,
point now.
okay, there you go.
Yeah, no, sorry, Portland. Yeah, so for me, yeah, he's super important. I think he is like a one club guy, kind of like Diego Valeri was for them as well. But maybe he has some other brothers because his brother Jimmy Chara is scoring bicycles
he's
left, right, and center.
fantastic. Yeah.
Overall, though, honestly, I think with Victor Wanyama, I don't think a Diego Shara would be like
Mhm.
super as effective
Yeah.
as he could be in Montreal.
Do you have a name to which MLS players would you have chosen from? For Montreal, you can take time to.
Yeah,
think.
let me think.
I'm- I'm gonna hear Sam first on Diego Shara, and I mean what he said, and if you
No,
have
yeah,
a
man.
player-
No, man, for real. He's one of the players in MLS that I like the most to
Yeah.
watch. He's
Yeah.
a pleasure to watch. He's a warrior, man. He has such a good
Mm.
mentality. But I really like that Portland team too, so it's easy to watch for me. But there's a thing, with Wanyama. I mean, it kind of breaks a bit with what Shara could bring. So that's the only reason why I would say no. But if I can name a player, did I understand that Castellanos is not a DP?
Yeah,
this
he's
is
not a
nuts,
DP.
man. So
Yeah.
What kind of
obviously-
sorcery?
Obviously, my choice would be Castellanos, but if you want to look maybe a bit outside the box, Walker Zimmerman in that center of the back three would be fantastic. We're still looking a bit for that player, and who else, man?
I got one.
I mean,
you
that's
named already
it,
two.
man.
That's pretty good.
These are the two, man. Walker
That's pretty
Zimmerman
good.
and Castellanos. Crazy, he's not a DP. This guy.
Okay. No. Well, I'll tell you a player who I rate, the joint top scorer, Ola Kamara.
No,
He's a player I've always liked, and he's not a DP, I don't believe. For
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He's not. I just quadruple checked. I was waiting for it to load.
Okay.
He's an excellent striker, and he often against Montreal. Ola Kamara would be a player I would like to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I know we got Kai.
I'm maybe gonna surprise you guys, but I don't think it's gonna. In my opinion, it's not. We don't really need a striker. We don't really need a midfielder. We need a left wing back, man. We just need a left wing back. That's what we need.
Which left wing back in MLS would you pick?
And that's the main problem, I wanted to choose Sam Vines, but he's not in MLS anymore. He moved to Royal Antwerp recently, and I was looking for a left wing back, and I would love to get what's his name, Robinson. Anthony Robinson.
Anthony Robinson.
That can play as a left back, if I'm not mistaken. Or am I? Yeah, I think he is. He's in Fulham now, so forget it.
I thought. I knew it was in Fulham. Did he come back to MLS?
Yeah. So listen, I can't find anybody as a left wing back.
Daniel Levitz, man.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people
said it. I know, man.
I know. Thank you. I'm done. But George Bello. Bello would be
is also gone.
Really? He's gone too.
Yeah, he's moving. Yeah, you're right. Man.
He's not gone. He's not gone yet. He's moving.
I think he's moving in the window when the window opens.
No. He's gone.
Oh,
in Germany, Arminia Bielefeld now.
Yeah. I thought he was moving this.
But you know what? Because the left back position is the most sought after position in the world.
Obviously,
in the world,
there's not a lot of left-footed players, so. And that can attack and defend. So
exactly.
Of course it is.
So that's why I think that's what we need. And if I want to look for a player in MLS, that's the position I would look into.
I just want to say something quickly before you put out the next tweet. When the year Walker Zimmerman was drafted, Montreal had the pick right after Dallas. I would really like to know if his name was on Montreal's list.
I would be surprised.
Montreal doesn't know how to draft.
But yeah, I know
they just started to maybe take that seriously.
I've always wondered, man, and we'll never know. So
now let's move on with another tweet. So it's a tweet of Thiagito Swark. Not a bad result for Montreal, losing only 1-0 in Cruz Azul. But let me tell you, this was possibly the worst performance I've ever seen from Montreal. Horrible. It got to the point where the only positive is the result. And I think we said it quite a few times here on.
But he didn't see that 7-1 Kansas City game.
Yeah.
He's a new fan, this guy.
I think he's talking about Montreal with Nancy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There's quite a few games where we were really, really bad, right?
Because let's go back to Renigard's years. I can find a few of them.
Renigard, sometimes with Jesse Marsh, sometimes with
more Biello towards the end.
And the volcano. What is it?
Shalibaum.
Yeah, Shalibaum, exactly. Let's move on with the third one. Listen, I that tweet will never be forgotten by any Montreal fan. So it's Tio Toto that says who remembers, and he takes a screenshot of Joey Saputo's tweet that dates back to the 10th of May 2014.
Get off the screen. I'm done with it.
And it says, our fans deserve better. Changes will be coming, guaranteed. Where are the changes, Joey? Where are the changes? We're waiting for them. So what do you guys?
Where do we
Go ahead.
start, man? Do you
Go
really
ahead,
want to go there?
Yeah, well, we don't have a choice, right? It's in the
Man.
social media scam.
Yeah.
Dude, like, what did he change? Change the name
Well,
of the team.
yeah,
he didn't
he
change
did
the
change a lot.
philosophy of spending money. He didn't
changed coach
change
often.
anything to improve the stadium to make it more attractive to fans. Okay, I could go on for days, and it was going to become a rant, and then we're going to cross the PG-13 line, which I'm not allowed to cross.
As per Eve's mom.
Yeah, I gotta
Rightly
share
so.
accommodations with her in Toronto in a couple of weeks. So I actually gotta like toe the party line real hard here. But no, I mean, look, okay, number one, I blocked that Twitter account because I was so sick of seeing people retweet the stupid tweet. Now they're tweeting this friggin' screenshot. I can't escape it. So anyway, nonetheless, I didn't block Teototo. Sorry, I blocked
Joey
this.
Joey
Saputo.
Saputo, yeah.
Yeah.
You blocked Joey Saputo?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I didn't. Well, I got so sick of seeing people retweet the tweet every time, and I think this was in the days before muting existed, so you could only block if you didn't want to see something.
You know, you can unblock him and mute him now, huh?
I
Poor
suppose,
guy.
but like, well, whatever.
Okay.
I mean,
I
he
don't
doesn't
even
tweet.
follow him, man. I don't even follow him.
I don't follow him. I don't follow him. He hasn't tweeted since that tweet.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
no, nonetheless, I mean, any changes that have been made have obviously not been effective. In my opinion, the priorities haven't been placed in the right spot. So to me, like, that tweet is kind of just like, Chan, I will smack you.
Chan says I will tag Eve with that tweet at the next loss. So it's very funny. Sam,
there will not be a beer on me at the tailgate then.
Do you want to comment anything else on it?
No. It's a funny one, but I mean, it always comes back, when there's a few difficult moments.
Yeah.
Remember when at the end with Rémi Garde, it was all over the place because we were losing every game. That there was no fun going to the stadium. So when the rebrand happened again, so. It's just they're sitting and waiting, so we'll have to live with it.
Honestly, like, just delete the account.
Yeah,
no.
Joey
man, I'm pretty sure he comes and he's like voyeur or all over.
Do you think he has like
all over?
Do you think he has like a burner account?
No, this same
he uses
account.
His account.
He just still uses it, but he just doesn't tweet from it. Let's move on with the next tweet. Graham that says, "Oh, Canada, just 2 points from 9 games from the Canadian MLS teams. Guys, it's not only us. Toronto and Vancouver are really having a bad beginning of the season too."
They got a point.
So, yeah, but still 2 points from 9 games. So yeah, Canada is not doing well locally, doing very well internationally. So yeah, two worlds that we live in. Any comments?
Just sad, man. But
it is sad.
It tells me that things will change positively because we can't be that bad in Canada, right? It's gonna change. So a bit of patience and hopefully these things will go.
Pretty sure it's gonna change.
Something weather, something.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's move on with the fifth one. Markham, that we already previewed at one point, but we didn't tag the right account last time. He said 3 days ago, CF Montreal flew to Mexico, played the top team in CONCACAF at the highest altitude stadium, and flew back home. But yeah, Twitter says they are shit for not winning in a baseball stadium. I just want to comment just one thing first, and then I'll let you guys talk. I want to say one thing. It's not the highest altitude stadium.
We learned that today.
Because there is a stadium, I think the highest one is in La Paz in Bolivia, if I'm not mistaken. But there are others, I'm pretty sure. But the one that really comes into my mind on top of my head is the one in La Paz. But yeah, what do you think about that tweet, guys? Let's start with Sam this time.
Well, just to correct, they didn't fly back home. They flew to New York. That's the only thing. But it's same, I think he's.
What he means by home is North America.
Oh yeah, okay, let's go. Listen, the thing is, people were because when we lose, everything is there's no middle, you know. It's black or white, and people were very, very, very negative, and people were just going on the players, the
Yeah,
staff,
man.
everything.
Yeah, man.
I mean, yeah, there's a context to it, and I have to admit, you know, I was watching the game yesterday. I was kind of getting a bit mad too, you know. I was getting
A bit?
yeah,
A
let's
bit,
not
man?
get the group chat on here, but yeah, I was a bit pissed off, and but you know, take a few minutes, you put things into context, you think about it, and you know it's true. And there's something people omit to say. You're missing Mason Toy, Sam Piet, Ahmed Hamdi. That these are very, very big pieces to your team. So, and you're playing in a baseball stadium, man.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
important point on his tweet right here is that people are saying the team is shit. Team is not shit. Team is going through a rough patch now. It's gonna get better, I'm sure. You know, I can't envision our team finish with like 8 points at the end of the year. It won't happen. So we're gonna get better.
Bro,
No.
it's the way they
Yes,
lost.
the way is horrible. I have to say, but
And
I'm just hoping that the staff and the players will regroup and adjust, because I think it's adjustments that are needed, not burn the whole club down and rebuild. That's the
yeah,
thing.
no, and like you know, Yankee Stadium has never been a particularly friendly stadium to Montreal. You
No.
know, the only result I can ever recall them getting there, maybe I'm missing New York's expansion year, is like a 1-1 draw that they got the very last minute of the game. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure they've basically exclusively lost there. Oh no, they had 1-0 draw as well. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the Rudy got the red card. But anyway, I digress. For me, it's the way in which Montreal has been losing. Like I said, they seem to find a new way to lose every game. So no, I wasn't counting on Montreal to win. I was expecting some rotation, and I was kind of expecting a loss, to be quite frank. But again, it's the way in which the losses are coming.
Yeah. No. Sorry, Eve. Again, I don't agree with you. Yes,
fine.
we did lose. Yes, I think it's still very early in the season. I think that things can change. But again, I said it in the last or in 2 episodes ago. I don't think that Montreal will make the playoffs. That didn't change my mind. But I still think
that didn't change your mind yesterday.
No, but I don't think that we're going to be last or we're going to be 12th or 11th
Okay.
or 13th or whatever. I think we have a better team than that. We're still going to compete for a playoff place, but we're not going to get there. But that's why I'm not really worried. So that's it for social media today, guys.
Good
so
choices, man. That's good.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. So I think we can move on now with Eve. That's gonna present who said that this time.
Yeah, who said that this week?
Yes. So where is Eric?
And let's go.
When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
Man, every time I hear that thing,
It
cracks me up. It really cracks me up.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
He's so weird. Alrighty. I have 3 quotes for you, gentlemen, this evening.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if they're easy. I don't know if they're difficult. They're just quotes. First one is, in celebrating my goal, it was the saddest backflip of my career. And the 3 players for you to choose from are Juan Jesus, Lucio, and Hernandez. And I will let Hattie start.
I think it's Lucio.
Yeah, I think it's Lucio too. I have an image of him doing a horrible backflip.
Yeah, me too.
And almost landing on his face, man.
I remember that. It's not him.
No, it's not. It's actually Hernandez. He was celebrating a win shortly after being put up for transfer, and it was very controversial. It was against his former club, and basically in order to kind of make a point to the manager of the club, when he scored against them, he celebrated with the backflip, which he does often. And he loved the club very much, and it was Lazio Inter Milan, just for reference. And he was very sad in his heart because he loved the club. But anyway, I digress. So it was the saddest backflip
Okay.
of his career.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Lazio
Next.
man, right? Just
Yeah.
to specify.
Mhm.
Yeah. Alrighty, next up. I think so. We're at 0-0 if we're being competitive, because
Of course
that's
we are,
the
man.
only way to
Of course
live.
we are.
The only
Yeah.
the only person that's competitive in that pod, man, it's you. So.
No, but I am today. I am.
Mm,
Oh, Sam, set the fire. Alrighty. Okay, next up. I think that France, Germany, Spain, Holland, and England will join Brazil in the semifinals.
What?
Was this quote by Ronaldinho, Diego Maradona, or Pele?
No, it's by the journalist who asked Schweinsteiger if Chicago would make the World Cup. Oh, so who's the choices? Ronaldinho, Maradona, or Pele?
Correct.
Has to be
Wow,
Maradona,
damn. He was cooked up.
man.
God bless his soul, right? Yeah, it has to be
No,
Maradona.
Maradona.
Yeah, Maradona. Who
No,
was it? Ronaldinho?
Pele.
Pele? Really? Oh
I had the
shit! man.
feeling it might be him, but okay.
He's getting
I'm so-
old, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, and no, I had to double check actually because I was like, I feel really bad if he's Anyway, all right, next up. Okay, statistics are like mini skirts. They give you good ideas but hide the important things. Your three
Wow.
choices are Johan Cruyff, Ebbe Skolvdal, or Ruud Gullit.
Who's the second one?
Ebbe Skolvdal.
I see Ruud Gullit.
Oh, I thought it was my turn this time. Okay.
Not bad, not
It's
bad.
Oh,
it's
okay, well-
You said Ruud Gullit. I would say Johan
Johan-
Cruyff.
It was Ebbe Skolvdal.
What the fuck? I don't even know who's that. Maybe I'm not. Who's that?
It was a manager for Brøndby. Was
Oh,
probably
wow.
the club that he managed.
Yeah.
That was he died not long ago.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
he's
God bless
the-
his soul.
he's a Danish manager. He managed Benfica for a short period as well.
Okay.
Yes, and he also managed Aberdeen actually for several years in Scotland.
In Scotland.
So in Scottish
You
Premier
guys-
League. So
You guys
Not
know that
around.
Brøndby was a very, very big club, right?
Yes,
At one
yes.
Oh, yeah.
very,
Champions League
very
and
big
stuff.
club,
Yeah.
and I think it's them that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. They're in Copenhagen, and there's the rivalry between Brøndby and FC Copenhagen is something that's like surreal.
epic.
Like
Yeah.
really epic. So I have a
Yeah.
friend that went there to one of their games, and he told me like it's crazy. I never
Mm.
thought I
Yeah.
would see so much passion in a soccer game in Denmark. But
Nice.
Yeah.
there it is.
No, but when Skovdal was with Brøndby, like that was kind of during their best period, I think, probably in
Okay.
footballing history, because they went to the UEFA Cup, as it was known back in the day, several times, and he won the not Eredivisie, oh my gosh, the Danish Superliga.
Yeah,
He won that with them as well, and I think he also won like their cup competition a few times. So yeah, so you guys are 0 for 3 tonight. Good
Yeah.
job.
Like Montreal.
Yes,
Hey
okay,
man, it's
yes.
very hard. Who said that? It's very hard.
yeah.
It is
it is
hard.
very-
It is hard.
These ones were tough, Eve. So
Yeah.
when it's my turn, you'll get it, guys. You'll see.
I looked really hard this week. I'm not gonna lie. I want.
You did awesome. We're
No, it was
learning. We're
good.
learning.
Alrighty. Well, anyway, that wraps up Who Said It. So Sam, go ahead.
And it wraps up the show too, guys. So Addy, Eve, thanks again for spending Sunday night with me. And it was really fun talking Montreal and everything. Even though it's was a bit of a difficult week to cover because we don't like to get in these kind of discussions like really negative and stuff, but there wasn't much positives either. So that's what's up. But it was fun again, guys, as usual, man. And I want to thank all the listeners, everyone who stayed the whole show, and everyone who came in and out. It's great to have everyone with us. It's really cool. And Jose Luis from El Podcast Azul. That was a great interview at the
Yeah,
start. So
it was very interesting.
Mhm.
so guys, thanks a lot, and until next week, we say have a great week and see you in 7 days' time for another episode of The Ball Is Wrong.